Hello, Pearl Jam community, and welcome to our interview series, Candle of Thought. I am Chrissie Ferguson with the Wishlist Foundation, and today I will be chatting with Jill Vedder and Michael Hund about EB Research Partnership and the upcoming Plunge for Elodie. As many of you know, Jill is a wife, mother, philanthropist, activist, and a founder and chairwoman of EB Research Partnership, where she and her husband, Eddie, are leading ambassadors in sharing the mission of curing EB with the world. Michael is a husband and father and the CEO of EB Research Partnership. Michael joined EBRP in 2017, and under his leadership, EBRP has accelerated the EB landscape from 2 to over 40 clinical trials, and via their award-winning venture philanthropy methodology, helped fund the first FDA-approved treatment for EB in 2023, the first ever topical gene therapy. So welcome, Jill and Michael. It is such an honor to speak with both of you. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Hi, thank you, Chrissie.
Thanks for having us, Chrissie.
Well, the Wishlist Foundation has been supporting EBRP since 2014. And I'm proud to say that we have raised over $29,000 for EB, thanks to our incredible volunteers and our Wishlist community. And I just wanted to ask, not everyone fully understands, even though through our pre-parties and the fundraising, we've been raising all these funds for EB, but not everyone truly understands what EB is. Can you explain a little bit to our community how EB affects the skin and what life is like for those who are suffering?
Yes, and first I just want to say thank you. I didn't realize you guys have raised that amount of money. It makes me want to cry already. I'm tearing up, so I really thank you, everyone. So EB is a rare genetic disorder. It affects the skin, mostly your largest organ, but also internally. Kids that are born with EB are often born missing skin on their bodies, and they live a pretty harsh, painful life that consists of having to wrap their bodies in bandages every day, bleach baths to remove the bandages. It is, one of the most brutal things that I've ever seen as far as diseases go. So,
on a daily basis, what is it like for maybe a child and his or her parents?
I mean, the kids are definitely in pain every day. They've got open sores and blisters externally. And then, like I mentioned, it happens internally as well. So often, sometimes several times a year, they'll have to get their throats opened up because the blisters and things on the inside will close up their esophagus. The daily bandage wraps, which take up to 4 hours, soaking them off in bleach baths, which the bleach helps sterilize, right, Michael? It just kind of helps keep them clean. And the parents, I can't imagine being a parent and having to put your child through the pain of the wrapping of the bandages and removing the bandages, because you have to inflict pain in that way to keep them alive and keep them clean and sterile. So it's awful. It's pretty awful.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
A lot of things, Chrissie, that we take for granted that are easy part of our daily routines, eating, walking, breathing, sleeping, just become really difficult challenges on a daily basis.
Yeah, and it's got to be particularly difficult for parents, I'm sure, witnessing what they're going through. EB Research Partnership is dedicated to finding a cure for EB. So what breakthroughs in research have you both witnessed at EBRP throughout the years?
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Jill.
You go. Well, I'll just say that, you mentioned in your opening that, when Michael got involved, we started, when Ed and I got involved, there were 2 clinical trials. I think we have over 40 now. And then you also mentioned we had the first ever FDA approved treatment. We have 2 now. So that's all to the thanks of everybody that supports us and donates. And all of the money we raise does go to research. We have a really incredible family that underwrites all of our operating fees. So we can say that every dollar we raise does go to research, which is pretty amazing.
That's great. That you became involved with Eddie with EBRP in 2010 when that was the founding of the organization, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That year.
Yes.
So, how did learning about your friend's son's condition urge you to take action and to help be a co-founder of this organization?
Um, I think upon hearing about Mikey, we had no idea what this was at all. So with a little research and then after meeting him, we just knew we had to get involved and do what we could to help him and try to save his life. I think anybody that meets a kid with EB will be super moved and humbled by them and want to get involved the best way they can. At least that's how I felt. So
Yeah, I'm
we
sure. And other children and families that you've both met along the way. I mean, who are some of and what are some of the names of the kids and the even adults who have EB that really stand out in your mind and who have impacted you, both of your lives along the way through your involvement?
Oh my gosh, Michael, we have a list, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, Mikey for sure. He was my first EB kid that I got to know. And then several of them, unfortunately, we've lost a couple along the way. So there was a woman, Jennifer, who passed a few years ago. We just lost Deanna, which some people might. I know some folks here in Seattle saw her on stage when we did our summit, and Ed played the couple shows at Benaroya here. Some of the young kids are total crack ups and I love them. And I'm so grateful that we have these treatments now that will change the quality of their life. Elodie Patterson, who I'm kind of showing, he's a total clown on my Instagram the past couple days. Who else we got? John Hudson.
Mhm. Yeah, John Hudson, Salim, Jacob, Charlie, Brady, Archer. There's families around the world with EB, and some people don't know Chrissy, but there's actually 500,000 people in the world living with EB. So there's a lot of brave warriors out there. And just as Jill said, when you meet, whether it is a 2-year-old or a 20-year-old, they are, what they can teach us about bravery and courage and strength and resilience. I mean, there's a lot of rare diseases out there. There's a lot of things that people battle, but EB has to be one of the toughest. But these young people do it with courage and hope and optimism and, a lot of strength. And as Jill said, fun, find a way to be positive and make music and make art and share their message with the world, which is a hard thing to do. And as Jill said, when Jill and Eddie started this, I mean, there wasn't that hope and optimism, and now we can actually put a treatment in these young people's hands. So, the 2 FDA approvals was really big, but we're just getting warmed up. We won't stop until there's a cure for EB. And I just want to shout out Jill, and I want your community to know. I mean, people see Jill and Eddie and tell me somebody else with a platform that uses it to do such good in the world. Like there's no greater human beings on this planet. But to single out Jill specifically, she is our chairwoman. She leads this organization. And, I think people can see this, looking in and say, oh, these are people with a big platform and how much are they really involved? But every single day, Jill is our leader and working on this and fighting and working with families and working on research and working on the fundraising. So we're just really lucky. I know your community are fans of Jill and Ed, but just to shout out Ed and Jill in particular as a leader who's driving this forward every single day.
I told you to stop doing that.
Well, she is quite the ambassador. It's very evident through all of her hard work that she's doing. And, going back to what you were saying too, with the children whom we've met through, throughout the past several years online and on social media, they just seem so positive. And it's just amazing to me that they're going through what they're going through, yet there's such positivity there. And it's a real message, I think, to all of us. They're a real shining light.
Yeah, the reason our chairwoman brings her fight and we bring our fight, and you and Wishlist are out there doing your own version of that, is because of this fight that these families bring every single day. So if we can take that urgency for solutions into our work and missions, we carry that with us every single minute of every single day.
Yes, that's awesome. And so you have so much to be proud of. But I know when you're thinking about your organization, whether it's the community that surrounds you, the volunteers, the organization itself, the research that has been made, what are you most proud of? What stands out in your mind? And that's a question for both of you.
I mean, the amount of support that we've had over the years has really driven us to, it's gotten us to where we are today, to have those FDA approved treatments, and people know about EB. I never heard of it. Most people that I'd met for years didn't know about it, but every time we're at a show or around people, people know, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love what you guys are doing for EB. And that just didn't happen 10 years ago. So I'm super proud of how everyone's kind of rallied behind us and knows about it. So that's, for me, that's one of the biggest things. What do you say, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And to put that in perspective too, Chrissy, I mean, the work that Jill and Ed have done, the families that have rallied around this, the donors and supporters, just like you guys all at Wishlist, the doctors, the scientists, the biotech companies, like really seeing that community rally to make an impact. Like there's so many causes and nonprofits in this world that are worthy of our support, right? But very few exist to not exist, want to put themselves out of business. And that's what we're really accomplishing. Like we have a big, bold goal to cure this disease by the end of this decade, not just in our lifetimes, but but in the next 6 years, right? To actually find a cure for EB. And we believe more than ever that that's attainable and achievable. And the first FDA approvals was a big step. And again, EB, 500,000 people. EB is one of about 10,000 rare diseases, but everybody knows somebody with a rare disease, right? 1 in 10 people on the planet are affected by a rare disease. Is 400 million people. That's more people than cancer and HIV combined. But these diseases like EB can be small and isolating. But if we start to think about that as a big community, but 95% of those 400 million people don't have any FDA approval. So we crossed into the 5%, which is definitely something to be proud of, but we won't stop until we achieve that cure. And I think what we're learning more and more by the day is the way in which this organization runs and has been built, and the model could help that 10% of the planet with a rare disease learn from, what went well, what didn't go well, what we're learning every single day. The rising tide lifts all ships. So I think we really want to share that model with other diseases that can be impacted by our work. As Jill says, cure one, cure them all, right? Like we want to, our focus is EB, but looking at how we can help others in the process.
That's amazing. Well, let's talk about what we're doing in the next month, Jill. Can you share with the community how, learning about all of this, how we can support you, how we can support our friends with EB and other rare diseases? Tell us about the Plunge coming up for Elodie.
The Plunge. So Elodie's mother's friends started a plunge in, is it Wesley, Connecticut?
Yep.
About 7 years ago. They just wanted to get involved and see what they could do. And so they started a plunge. And that plunge has grown to what it's become today. I think we have 20 plus plunges happening this year in Japan, in Australia. We're doing a big one in Seattle on Alki Beach. So all Seattle people, we would love you to join. The link to join Team Vedder is on my Instagram. We have prizes for the top fundraisers, which I might need to open that up to not just Seattle, but everybody that's whoever wants to be the top fundraiser. I got some signed stuff, some art, ukulele, some things that Ed's whipping up for our top fundraisers. But I think the plunges have raised over the past 7 years $6.5 million. Our goal is 500,000 this year. I think we're already at 300,000 with all of them combined. I'm totally sure we could make it past 500,000. I mean, come on. I believe in you all. But yeah, it's exciting. People have done it in all sorts of crazy ways. We did last year, I did both. I jumped into Lake Washington, which was fun. That day had a lot of duck poop around, so it was kind of gnarly, but our goal is to be uncomfortable for a minute. Like EB kids are uncomfortable all day, every day, so can do it. And then we did an ice bath because people have gotten pretty creative if you're in Florida or somewhere where the water's not cold. But here, a friend of mine brought an ice bath into her restaurant, and we had to sit in that one for 3 minutes. But we did it, and it was awesome. So that's
people
what we're
who
doing.
can't, that's awesome. So are people who can't join you in Seattle, they can take their own plunge, but if they don't have a big body of water, they could just add ice to their tub and
Right.
Totally.
okay.
Exactly. You can get
And then-
creative with it.
Okay. And so you said 3 minutes they've got to do at least.
That's that plunge. I mean, apparently all the cool kids are doing it now. Everybody I know is like plunging just for fun and,
Right. For
good
health
for all
reasons.
sorts of things. For health reasons, exactly. So it actually isn't that bad. I was numb after 20, 30 seconds anyway. So
Okay.
wasn't that bad. The duck poop was probably worse, actually.
And then you had mentioned that on your Instagram page, they should, if they do record, they should be tagging EB Research and you and also Plunge for Elodie. Do a hashtag Plunge for Elodie.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
But I think everyone can join, still can join Team Vedder and then create their own. And then it would just be under our page. Is that how it works, Michael? I'm not really techie.
Yep. Go to Jill's Insta, click on the link, donate, start your own team within Team Vedder, do your plunge at home. As Jill said, have fun with it. We've seen bathtubs, we've seen people plunge in bucket loaders, we've seen kiddie pools, we've seen, Jill and her community brought an ice baths to a restaurant in West Seattle. So everybody's got a bathtub. Everybody can find some cold water. You get extra points if it's fun and creative and maybe even wear a costume. We just had a group in Australia last weekend. Nathan Burmeister, shout out for Jacob, that did it in superhero costumes, jumping in the water. So yeah, look, you can support an amazing cause. You can have fun while you do it. And look, you heard Jill say there's some pretty good prizes. So for the competitive people out there and the Wishlist, post what you've got and enjoy it while you do it.
Well, I'll be the first one to do it for Wishlist. I'm going next week. I am in Florida, but it will be an ice bath. So, so I'll start on this side for the Wishlist Foundation. So we're hoping to see everybody's posts. And then of course, the fundraising is crucial as well, because as you said, you're making great strides to get to that cure, and you're making great strides for treatment. And even just seeing, in hearing about the medications and the gel that is helping the patients, I mean, that's just amazing in itself. So I think in one of the videos that I will be sharing, you all say you're not just writing a check. It's so much more than that. There's so much to be done, and we can all help in so many different ways. And I just wanted to end, the interview by talking about, something that really stood out to me in one of your videos is about the butterfly and the symbol of the butterfly. And I think was it Olivia Rodrigo who explained the meaning of it in the video? I think so. And if you don't mind, I'm just gonna say it right here. But she says, those suffering with EB have skin so delicate they call it the butterfly disease. From morning to night, they are surrounded by a cocoon of pain. But like the butterfly, what begins as an impossible struggle can become a remarkable metamorphosis. There's beauty in the growth of science and magic in the transformation of research. So I just thought that was so beautiful, and talking about tears coming to your eyes. I mean, you all are doing such amazing work, and being a teacher and a mother and knowing what children and adults are going through and the great work that you all are doing. And that we are seeing transformations in the lives of people who are suffering. I just say kudos to all of you. And we just hope that we can help even more through raising awareness and bringing awareness to this upcoming Plunge for Elodie. So thank you both so much for all that you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chrissie. Thank you to the whole Wishlist fam. We appreciate y'all. Honored to have you on the team.